Do you use data and analytics and other technologies to help support that work, or do you?
That's a great springboard to talk about Civitas Learning, right? So we've had Civitas Learning as a platform for several years, over 5 years at this point. I've been in my role as a director of advising initiatives for the past 3 years. And so we've used the Civitas platform, I would say, in a phased approach, right? So we started using Inspire for Advisor first, and using it to document our advising interactions, because we want to eliminate the they said, she said, and so we have better internal communication. But we also want to make sure when we meet with that same student, if the same advisor doesn't meet with them, that they can just continue the conversation. So that's how we leverage the first tool under Civitas, Inspire. But we started with our graduation coaches. They use that predictive analytics tool to not only document their advising interactions, but have just-in-time conversations with students. Because sometimes it's hard, right? You maybe have 15, 30 minutes with students. What are you going to talk about outside of registering for classes? Students are not open. Let's just say humans are not open to have a discussion if the first thing that you're going to talk about is what they need to change or what they need to fix. Let's say a student comes in and you're saying, I got this progress report and it looks like you're failing in algebra. What's going on? A student's going to say, back up, beep, beep. Why is that the first conversation piece? And they may not go back into your office because they're already trying to manage all their multiple responsibilities. And the first thing that you say is, what are you doing? They're shaking their finger. So the beauty of Inspire is that we're using those key indicators to help us have those relatable human conversations. So it has, I can't remember right now, but it has, you can talk about things that they're progressing in that are great. And then you can talk about opportunities for them to shift. So then you could talk about, well, it looks like you've completed 30 credits. You should be proud of yourself. Even what we say in our language matters. So instead of saying, I'm proud of you, that's taking out the authoritative language. We should change our language to say, you should be proud of yourself, because the students are doing the work. So it's not only the tools, but how we use the tools, Katie. Mm-hmm. So the phased approach is that we started using Inspire for Advisor, right, with our graduation coaches. And then we extended that circle to our enrollment specialists and our primary role advisors to use that same tool. And now we've extended it to our faculty members. Like I said earlier, they have the most seat time with the students. So we started with that program. The second phase was using a Loom. Now, a Loom, everybody was a little like, I don't know if I want to use this. This is pre-COVID, right? Or BC, not before Christ, before COVID. They were talking about, I don't know if I'm comfortable using this technology tool. We don't know even if our students are opening their email. Boom, COVID hit 2020. Now we were reliant on reaching out to students in a different way other than face-to-face. So we've been using a Loom probably almost simultaneously as Inspire, but we started using it even more, especially when 2020 hit, because we wanted to make sure that our students still felt connected to us as humans, right? So we were reaching out to students not only for open registration, but how are you doing? And we would make sure that we would title the subject so that they would know this is not another email that I just need to put in junk, but they're actually reaching out to me. We had what's called a We Care campaign, where we reached out to students. We had a script for those faculty and advisors, and we had them send an email first through a Loom, and then we had them follow up with a phone call. Hey, I reached out to you. This is your advisor here. I just want to call and see how you're doing, and pausing for a response. It's not just a salutation like we used to walk in the hallway, say, hey, how you doing? And you keep walking. But it was a, how are you doing? And then waiting for a response. And then what I did as the director of advising initiatives, I came up with a flow chart. So depending on what their response was, then they would be able to give them what they needed. We're guilty, Katie. I'm guilty too, that we want to just give.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make sure that we hear the students what they need and then give them what they need. Instead of kind of throwing up, oh, we have this, we have tutoring, we have the food pantry. They didn't ask for that. The student asked for, this is what I need from you. And so when we did that tiered approach of the We Care campaign, starting with a Loom, following up with a phone call, and then giving students what they need, then that allowed our students to feel seen. Going back to what you said about equity and inclusion, that also made our students feel like, okay, they care about me as a person, not just a number to bulk up our enrollment numbers, but they see me as a human being first, and they actually listened. And now I have a person that I can go back to if I have another question along the way in my journey. So we started with Inspire. We then went out to Loom, and now we're using Course Insights. That's fairly new, so we're still trying to build momentum. So we're using the data to make informed decisions on how we help our students. So we can pull a report from Course Insights and say, you know what? I'm a biology advisor. Let me see how many of our students have passed inorganic chemistry, which we call is kind of a gateway course. And then let me reach out to those students that are on the cusp and it's midterm to see what I can do to help them. So sometimes our students, they don't know what to ask because they don't know what they don't know. Mm-hmm. Or they're trying to manage so many responsibilities, they really don't have the time to ask. They're just treading water, trying to keep their chin above the water, right? So we want to be the proactive outreach with our students. And then when we reach out to the students and we get them on the phone or we get them in our office, we want to have conversations that build trust. We want to have conversations about how they're doing holistically. And then we can get into, how is school going? What can I do to help you? What can you do to help yourself? Right? Because it's not only how can I help you, but it's empowering the student so they can know where they can get the help on their own. So that's the work that we've been doing with our predictive analytics tools. So we're going beyond the tools. We're using the tools to make actionable steps, but steps that make sense for our unique students.